Good morning. My name is Yangjun Kyaosang, and it is my great delight to invite Tenzin and Jetsun as a part of our Tibetan youth conversation with the Tibetan doctors. And we'd like to resume our program through Tibetan Medical Association, American Tibetan Medical Association. Last year, we had this wonderful, it was our initial program conversation with the Tibetan doctors. One of the reasons is we like to introduce the Tibetan medicine to our youth community. So we initiated. So I'd like to start with some slide sharing. So once again, welcome to conversation with the Tibetan youth, focusing on Tibetan medicine and Sowa Rigpa with our youth community. So I'm presenting here one of the member of American Tibetan Medical Association. We have 3 missions we call triple P's and S. So our goal is to preserve, to protect, and to promote Tibetan medicine. So in terms of protect or preserve, one of the things is to educate. We focus on education, and by sharing the knowledge and practice and ethics of Tibetan medicine or Sowa Rigpa for the benefit and well-being of humanity and all beings for living planet. So it is our delight to invite these 2 youngsters from different universities because they actually been our volunteers for 2020 during the pandemic time. And they always been our backbone supporting our program for last year's all webinars. And Jetsun did all the tech, and Tenzin did all the marketing and flyers. But Begila did a few times moderating, but they never been on the webinar to host or to be one of the main persons. So we'd like to invite them to share their own experience journey to the Tibetan medicine field. So I'd like to ask 2 of you if you can answer where you're from, which school you go to, and what's your, we're gonna answer some of the questions later, so you can add on a few things. Okay, how about Tenzin, you start?
Yes, definitely. So hi everyone, my name is Tenzin and I'm originally from Houston, Texas. Currently, I'm a 4th year at the University of Texas at Austin, and I'm studying biology and psychology. In my free time, I really enjoy playing golf and hanging out with my friends, exploring the city of Austin. And in the future, I plan on going to medical school, becoming a physician, and giving back to underserved communities.
Thank you. So now, Jetsun, can you share some of your background?
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Jetsun. I'm from Albany, California, which is a small town in the Bay Area. I'm a first year at UC Davis, and I'm majoring in neurobiology, physiology, and behavior, which is 1 major, not 3 majors. I enjoy cooking, especially when I get to try new recipes. I like to watch movies, and I recently started playing the guitar, so I like doing that. And my future plans are also hopefully to apply to medical school and get in, and use my skills to positively impact others. And I'm happy for this opportunity, so thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, so I'd like to ask you this. What do you hope to do in the future or plans? We can always start with the Tenzila.
Yes, for sure. So kind of like how I briefly mentioned in the introduction, I'm planning to attend medical school this coming school year. And so I'm really excited to kind of further my career plans and start this new chapter in my medical journey. And ultimately, I'd really love to be able to work with underserved populations as um, once it's, safe to travel internationally again, I would love to work with, the Tibetan refugee populations abroad, especially, in India, where there's a large Tibetan refugee population. So that's definitely one of my, ultimate life goals after I complete my training and everything. Yeah, and just trying to positively make a difference in others' lives. That's kind of my main goal.
Wonderful. How about Jetsun?
Yeah, similar to Begila, for my professional goals for the future, I hope to attend medical school and later become a doctor. But I think my overall general goal for life is kind of just to become a lifelong learner and just a well-rounded person. And I want to be that so I can always stay curious and use my knowledge um, outside of medicine and also including medicine to benefit others as well. Um, yeah, and we'll see where the road takes me.
That's a wonderful. Yeah. So when I grew up, I also went through your stage, right around your age or before, like in Tibet. Um, since both of you want to become doctor, wants to work in the medical field, so I want to share this with two of you. Is we are always being taught, being especially a girl, if you serve as a doctor, you're doing the best of your Dharma practices, as ourselves are all um, inherited with the practice of Buddhism. So um, I'm not sure you how you define yourself since you already grow up in this country, but at least you have some influence from your own family. So when I grow up, we always say being doctor is the best way if you are not going to be nun or monks. Being doctor will be the best way to serve the patient, but also practice kindness and compassion. So that's how I grew up, and that now we have like 40, maybe 30 years of gap. So hopefully that tradition can influence you and other uh, students who are going to study medicine. Okay, now I'm going to move on next one. So can you tell me why and what started your interest in Tibetan medicine? And Angela, do you want to share?
Yes, of course. Yeah, being Tibetan and being raised in the United States, I obviously have a lot of extended family that lives in India. And so, you know, kind of growing up, we would go and visit them whenever we could during the summer vacations and stuff. And so I would often see like my older family members, like grandparents or like older aunts and uncles, um, referring to Tibetan medicine practitioners whenever they had kind of like chronic pain or medical conditions that they may just want to get looked at maybe before seeing a Western medicine doctor because of healthcare access. And so I thought that, as I got older, it'd be interesting to look more into like what Tibetan medicine is and foundational principles that it kind of embodies. And so that kind of started um, me wanting to study this in college for my undergraduate thesis. And so I did more research on kind of in the United States who is um, very kind of prominent in the Tibetan medicine community. And I found Dr. Gesang-la in California and how she works with not only, of course, the Tibetan community, but with the Western medicine community in providing integrative care for her patients and collaborating with like Stanford University that holds symposiums to create more awareness. And so that was really exciting and kept me interested in wanting to pursue this for my honors thesis, which I just completed.
Oh, congratulations. I know you've been talking about it, and even last year we had some discussion about it. Oh, okay. Congratulations, Destiny.
Thank you.
I'd
Thank
love
you.
to read about it. Let me know.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you. So, Jizula, can you also say a few things about this?
Yeah, for me, I think my interest in Tibetan medicine started pretty recently, actually, like from the start of when I got involved with ATMA. But before, I didn't really know much about it at all. Like Biggie, I had heard my family talking about it, like permit and stuff, taking permit and stuff like that. But I first got introduced to it through this the webinar sessions that ATMA was giving last year in the summer. And I think it was Dr. Tani talking about her journey from becoming to becoming an Amji. And that's how my interest started, really, because I thought her story was really cool. And yeah, ever since they had a volunteer slide, and I thought, I should join, because I felt like Tibetan medicine kind of combined a lot of my interest into one area of study. Like, I was interested in medicine and I wanted to learn more about my culture. And then also, I know that Tibetan culture is deeply influenced by Buddhism, and I'm also really interested in that. So I thought it was a really good opportunity for me to like get to know all of those aspects into like one area of study.
That's a wonderful. I'm so happy to hear that why we did all those webinars last year, right? Yeah, one of the thing about I thought about this for a long time, that how we can bridge between the Tibetan youth to the Tibetan doctors, because almost there's no communication and the student cannot learn. But as you saw, the Tibetan medicine is a all in one. It's all in one of all Tibetan culture, because in I don't know if you have heard about the what do you call it, the Jungney the Chungwanga means five big study of Tibetan culture and a small group. But the big one of the thing is about Sowarikpa is the Tibetan medicine. And in that is the essence, and in how to say in essence, but it condensed all the perspective of Tibetan culture. So there's astrology, there's Buddhism, there's logic, then there's medicine, all of them combined together. So you really saw the nectar of the Tibetan culture. When you learn Tibetan medicine, it radiates into all the perspectives of all Tibetan culture, and not only culture itself, but also study. Then it relates your food, your lifestyle, your cognitive skill, your thinking, your behavior. So one of you want to be behavior, studies. So you find the treasure. Now is you need to shine. You need to learn into it. So wonderful. Yeah, I'm so happy to hear about this. Okay, so for two of you, how long have you been involved in American Tibetan Medical Association, and what kind of work have you been doing? So, Tenzin, would you start?
Yes, so kind of like how we mentioned at the beginning, I've been helping out ATMA since about the summer of last year. So it's been about 1 year of volunteering, and it's been really eye-opening experience for me. So for ATMA, I've just been doing some of the administrative work, and moderating some of the webinars that we had over last summer, and making some of the flyers for some of the events going on for the past year. And so all of this kind of started actually when I reached out to Dr. Gesungla 2 years ago, if I could actually come to visit her in California to shadow her in her Tibetan medicine practice. And kind of with interacting with her and seeing the Tibetan medicine being practiced right in front of me, I thought that'd be really great to get more experience and exposure. And so Dr. Gesungla was kind enough to offer me this opportunity to get more involved with ATMA, which she's a board member of, and learn more about Tibetan medicine. And so I've been very thankful for this opportunity to continue helping out as much as I can.
Thank you. Yeah, Chizuna.
Yeah, so I started working with ATMA, I think July of last year. And I reached out to them after I'd seen that webinar I was talking about. And I kind of just, I knew I had skills in website design. So I've been doing the tech work, like website maintenance through WordPress and hosting Zoom meetings, recording Zoom meetings, putting recordings on different social media platforms. And recently, through all this work, me and Begila have been able to meet a lot of different doctors. And so we've been able to become research assistants for Dr. Namdu and Dr. Tani's research project.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so glad it really opened door for your potential, potential. Now you're gonna be, both of you gonna learn Tibetan medicine. So eventually you can also study Tibetan medicine. You can really integrate into each other to provide the best care for the patient. And speaking of the ATMA's student volunteers, we don't, because our organization is still small, and we have a limited people and resources, and most of us are only the practitioners of Tibetan medicine. So most of us are not from here, and most of us are struggling. It's like the second, third languages. So there are a lot of language barriers, plus a lot of tech. Is it called a savvy? So we're all tech illiterate, so I can barely make it through with them. And just like this, so we have a lot of potential and opportunity for you to volunteer, but also for students to learn and learn about the Tibetan medicine itself, to nourish your own mind, nourish your own culture, by learning by your own culture. So this is a great opportunity. So we will talk about this a little bit more at the end. So what have you learned since you started Tibetan medicine journey with Begila?
Yeah, so I think that as a Tibetan, it's very important for me to kind of keep learning more about our culture and making sure that, I'm able to spread awareness of it whenever I can. And so with shadowing Dr. Gesungla and getting to interact with a lot of other Tibetan medicine physicians, it's really been great to hear their experiences and how Tibetan medicine that they practice has helped a lot of the patients with their healthcare conditions. And through my thesis writing process, I've also learned a lot about scientific research methodology and how a lot of published literature in Tibetan medicine is done, whether it be like experiments studying different Tibetan medicine compounds or, looking at the effectiveness of certain diets or lifestyle changes. It's been really interesting to see how wide the scope of Tibetan medicine is and the amount of conditions it's able to treat for a variety of healthcare conditions. And I think that one of the most important things I've gotten insight into is about holistic healthcare and really putting the patient at the center of the care between the healthcare provider and the patient, creating a very authentic dialogue that doesn't make the patient feel like they're just, that the physician is rushing with their time and kind of wanting to move on to the next patient very quickly. And I could definitely see this through my shadowing with Dr. Gesung, you know, how Tibetan medicine practitioners really dedicate time to getting to know their patients and forming very long-lasting relationships. And that's something, you know, even as a Western medicine physician in the future, I definitely want to incorporate that into my own practice.
Wonderful. Gisela?
Yes, I've definitely learned a lot through my Tibetan medicine journey, but I know that I have a very basic knowledge of Tibetan medicine so far. And I have not been able to shadow like Begila has, but hopefully in the future I can, because I have not met anyone except for Dr. Yangdala in person. But I think through this journey so far, the main thing that has stood out to me is that Tibetan medicine has a very holistic view on health, and it's been cool learning about that because it's so different from Western medicine, because it showed me that you shouldn't only cater to a person's health only by their physical needs, but also mental and emotional. And I just, through this journey, I love how I love seeing how Tibetan medicine has really combined these aspects um, of health between the mind and the body and its environment into like this one system. And it's so deep and interesting, and there's so much more to learn. So I think that's why it's really important for me and other youth to try to learn about this rich area of study.
That's wonderful. Yeah, so definitely Tibetan medicine has a lot to offer to the humanity, and we just don't have enough power and resources to provide because we are lack of people and human power to educate others. So we're looking into all the young Tibetan um, students to learn about it, then educate, and we can, doesn't matter where we live, we're serving the humanity. And one perspective, or one very important of Tibetan medicine is individualized. As you probably have heard about the position or individualized medicine in last 10 years, 15 years the most. But Tibetan medicine has been practiced as individualized medicine for thousand and thousand years. So as I recommended, actually we offered you the special book by Dr. Tenzin under Tibetan medicine, and I'm sure you read about it, but it's a really well written book, and based on scientific research, randomized control research, and each individual persons require different treatment. So for instance, I have a headache, but didn't have headache does not mean we have the similar solution. But because my age, my background, my health condition makes different, so I might be giving something totally nothing to do with the headache, but then Jetsun has a really strong headache that is sharp burning, then I will be using something. So Tibetan medicine has been practicing this method for thousands of years, which becomes such a unique perspective in a healthcare provider, because in the West, in through our biomedicine, the difference is we have a more general medicine. So we take a Tylenol for headache, head on the top, on the head, on the shoulder, on the neck, all same. So this is a one unique perspective you can learn. And there's much more to discover. Yeah. Okay, let me move to next one. So one thing that impressed or surprised you have learned about Tibetan medicine? What, because we have about a 1 year experience externally, right? So how about you share one thing that that impressed you? What would you say, Begila?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna kind of reflect back on my shadowing experience with you, Dr. Gesangla, because when I came to Jungney Institute to shadow, I was I had this assumption that, maybe most of the patient population would be elderly folks or more people of Asian descent, because, traditional medical systems are, more commonly seen in Asian countries. And so kind of going in, that's what I was, I guess, what I thought that I would see, but I was pleasantly surprised that you had such a wide and diverse patient population with people of all different ages, ethnicities, and races, and the different amounts of conditions that Tibetan medicine can treat was very, honestly astounding. And like one thing in particular that surprised me was how you mentioned that many of your patients are actually veterans who come to manage their chronic conditions. And so how you interact with the VA and even other private practices to really coordinate integrated care for these individuals was very heartwarming to see, and how your patients are very comfortable just talking to you. And even though I was like this complete stranger watching in the room, they still were completely fine with that and were gracious enough to let me see this very intimate doctor-patient relationship. So I could definitely see how much care you put in to forming these bonds with your patients, and what that means to them.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Yangdala mentioned this, but she said that Tibetan medicine has this very individualized approach to healthcare, and I thought that was the one thing that actually impressed me the most, or surprised me the most, because when I first learned about the three constitutional types, like Tipa, Lung, and Peking, that was something so new to me, because in Western medicine, it's like you see the human body, you have something wrong with this certain part of your body, and that's basically it. And for Tibetan medicine, it's so much more than that. And I got to learn more about that through reading Dr. Namdu's book, Tibetan Medicine and You. And this one part in it, there's this questionnaire kind of that you fill out to see if you are Lung, Tiba, or Bighe mostly. And I really enjoyed doing that and seeing kind of how I could change my behavior and stuff to help me become, I guess, the most healthy. And yeah, I thought it was really interesting that Tibetan medicine has this personalized side to health, and it showed that health is really unique to the person, because there are different ways that a body can be balanced. And I definitely want to look deeper into that, because that's very new and surprising to me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. The questionnaires, because one of you want also major is psychology, right? So the Tibetan medicine also has a really high component of psychology. So all those questionnaires that we ask is through the psychological perspectives, and also in the physical mode. So you can ask questions, but you can get a really good answer based on the questionnaires. So one of my friend who teaches Tibetan medicine at San Francisco State University, and she also uses the guideline of this questionnaires. And a student at the end of each semester, they come to talk to me and to match if they actually find out right. And most of the time it's pretty accurate. So they actually wrote feedback how important and how valuable it is to improve their self-care and self-healing, because perspective of Tibetan medicine I'm trying to introduce to students from ATMA, not only to focus on academic training, but also learn the skills and habit of how to improve your own self, your self-care, self-healing for your own, for your family. Because last year, remember when we have the pandemic, we all got stuck in the house. So in between your house to the hospital, we don't have a much bed. We don't have the facility to go unless you're critically ill. Then what in between? There's nothing can be done, right? So we came up, especially myself, I through the Gwindi Institute, what we did is we made a list of things, so posted on website, have them do those things. But this is things that you can not only, if you don't want to become doctor, you're fine, but you can learn the skill of self-care, self-healing. But if you are wanting to learn about more about academically, then we can do research, we can do clinical studies. And Jizula, you haven't been here, but you're really close. So once we open up, you can just make up time. So you're welcome to come to visit Shadow, like Begila did. She stayed like about 10 days. And I'm opening this space for all the students as well. Doesn't matter where they are. And I'd like you to see, because I offered this potential to Stanford students, medical student from family medicine. And we just resumed the plan last week. So but because our Tibetan students don't know the potential where they go, so there's no place to learn. So if they don't know much, they can just come in to observe what they can see. And I'm really open to that. Yeah. Okay, let me move on to next. So Begila, can you share what advice would you give to incoming students who are interested in Tibetan medicine?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the most important things is that if you're interested in Tibetan medicine, definitely don't be afraid to Google, Tibetan medicine practitioners in the United States or wherever you live, and see if there's like any that have practices like nearby or at least in the same country as you do. And you can definitely send them an email. And at least from my own experience, I have found that many of the Tibetan medicine practitioners that I've reached out to have been very welcoming and having conversation with me and talking to me more about what they do. And so that's really helped me to get some more insight into what Tibetan medicine entails. And on the academic side, you could definitely look into more Tibetan medicine literature. I used Google Scholar to see a lot of different Tibetan papers on Tibetan medicine that study different herbal compounds or different lifestyle changes that have been studied on various medical conditions. And I found those to be very interesting because most of the studies I found actually had positive results. The only issue is that these are like very preliminary experiments. And so, if these are replicated, then this can really provide great credibility and visibility to Tibetan medicine in the scientific community. So I think that getting involved with research and being able to study Tibetan medicine and have significant results that can show its effectiveness is very important for the future so that it can become more established and have potential to be integrated with Western healthcare in the future. And so, yeah, those are definitely two things that I would say for people that are interested in Tibetan medicine that they could do. Oh, and I guess lastly, if you have the means to, once international travel is like okay and safe to do, it could be really interesting to also visit the Menzika in India as well and see how Tibetan medicine is practiced, you know, in the closest place there is to Tibet in exile. So yeah, just some ideas to throw out there.
Yeah, like Begila said, definitely do not be afraid to reach out to Tibetan doctors. I think everyone is super open and welcome and nice, and that's what I've experienced. And I think also I have enjoyed reading books on Tibetan medicine. So I think if you want to learn more about it, you can definitely ask Begila or Dr. Yangdila or anyone else. I know they've read many books or maybe even written some. But yeah, I think this whole community is really awesome and everyone is just always happy to help. So definitely, if you're interested, definitely stay in touch and ask questions.
Yeah. Only one thing I want to add, in case you don't get a answer right away, just be persistent, keep calling or keep emailing. Tibetan doctors are younger generations are much better, but olders have a hard time emailing or responding fast. So try emailing, try to call a few times until you get to reach the person. Once you get it, then they will be really good. I just want to give you a hint not to stop once you do. I called once, twice, then no reply. I gave up. Don't do that. You just be persistent. You will get it to reach to one of the doctors. Yeah. Okay, that's a wonderful. Also, I want to recommend one very basic book. It's called The Principle of Tibetan Medicine. Written by Dr. Tenzin Bradley from UK. She did a really short introduction to Tibetan medicine. It's a very summarized version. It's a really easy reading too. So for beginner, that would be really opening the door. Then you can expand more horizon to other books. Okay, so what aspect do each of you think Tibetan student can be involved in ATMA and Tibetan Medicine Institute?
Yeah, so if you're interested, ATMA definitely has volunteer opportunities that are available for you to contact them for, and we have a little bit further information of that a little bit later. But I think, I guess, outside of like actual established volunteer opportunities, just kind of, you know, doing self-studying on Tibetan medicine, and if you're interested in it, and increasing awareness of the practice would be just great for more people to know about it, especially through the literature that I've seen. There's a lot of promising results for chronic conditions, which is, I think, a gap that Western healthcare kind of has in treating patients with. And so if there's Tibetan medicine practitioners in your area, don't be afraid to, you know, maybe have an initial consultation with them and start a conversation, and kind of get more insight into the practice. if you want to learn more about it. And so, yeah, with both ATMA and Dr. Namdo's Tibetan Medicine Institute, kind of the main goal is to increase awareness and general education for the public on Tibetan medicine. And so just working in your own community to increase that awareness would be and would be helpful, you know, for the general cause as a whole.
Yeah. Jetsun?
Yeah, so I think if you're interested or you have professional goals in healthcare or anything in between, ATMA is an amazing organization to be involved in. And I think Tibetan students or just students in general, it's really important for them to be involved because they have a really big role in getting more youth to be involved in this. And just like Beggy and I are doing now, we're trying to get more youth to be involved. And I think it's important to do this kind of work, especially for the youth, so that they can learn about this part of Tibetan culture that's so rich and underlooked. And it's important because the youth are the ones ultimately who will pass it down to future generations and keep it relevant in society. So definitely, yeah.
It's wonderful. You're filling in the one of our goals of it's a promotion through the education, but also definitely passing along, you know, generations. And as Tibetan medicine has been practiced that many years, for thousand years, 3 to 4,000 years up to now, so it's passing through along the generation. So since we live in the West, but we cannot just stop saying, oh, Tibetan medicine is in Tibet. We're not going to learn until when we get to Tibet or India. So we need to see the circumstances, and we have a much more resources nowadays, right? Not like before. So online searching service, everything is possible. Yeah, that's a wonderful way to learn. And we have those volunteer opportunity, what we need, right? We have one of the questions here. So Bekila, yeah, so those are the one of our webinars from last year. We're asking volunteers opportunity. So Bekila, you want to just read through this? You
Yes,
can read through, or you can say, casually.
for sure. So anyone who's interested in ATMA to volunteer, there are several different opportunities over this coming summer. And so there is opportunities in tech with the website and opportunities with marketing and social media management, and then kind of tying into that, like sponsoring / hosting webinars kind of similar to this one on Tibetan medicine throughout the summer. That'll definitely be helpful. And then also increasing the outreach that Tibetan medicine has in communities, such as at research institutes or colleges, universities in your area, and even centers that study um, Asian studies, and even local libraries as well are great places to introduce Tibetan medicine to. And so if you're interested in any of these, definitely reach out to ATMA. I think on the next slide, we have the contact information, such as the email and the website for you to get more information on that.
Yeah, thank you for making this list. Last year, we worked together to make this list. So one thing I want to emphasize on here is since now we have a lot of students in different universities or colleges, you're major in different subject. So you can actually, a lot of places, they like a student to, or student or teacher invite guest speakers. So if you can initiate, they will like it. You can probably even get extra credit from those, but you can bring the invite the Tibetan doctor. We have some list in ATMA's website, some doctors around in the US. You can just reach out to us, whoever is easier. If we have to do online, so whatever the available time, we can manage for that. If once we can do the in person, so we can invite the person who is in your area or closer to area. Some of them, sometimes you need to fly out. Like myself, I did a few times down in Texas, Austin, and Arise, as well as local local universities as a UCSF, Stanford, California Integral of Studies. So they invite you, and City College of San Francisco, like this. They invite you all the time, like San Francisco State. I'm one of their frequent semester, guest speakers. Like I go like there once a year or twice a year, each classes. Now, when I meet some student from the street, because we're so local, we can meet in a, sometimes we write each other in a grocery store or something. Then they say, "Oh, doctor, you talked about the Tibetan medicine." Or they sometimes they even ask me, "Which constitution do you think I am?" I think I did this. Am I low or Tiba by this? So they ask me that detailed questions. But then it's really helped them to learn and to open their horizon of medical system. So if there's a department who are studying holistic medicine, social studies, psychology, Tibetan medicine is like a ball. You can roll over to each areas. Every aspect, there's something Tibetan medicine can say. If you're in biology, Tibetan medicine can offer. If you're in a fertility in biology department, Tibetan medicine has a lot to show. So in the future, maybe we can come up with how we can, like a one presentation, show you how Tibetan medicine is related, all the studies, so each area. But anyway, guest speaker is a potential to raise the awareness of Tibetan medicine in the West for yourself and for other communities. And another words we used here, we said Tibetan student, but it's not limited to Tibetan student only. Any student who are interested in Tibetan medicine, that included in our Himalayan students, Himalayan background students, or other people in your, doesn't matter, regardless of your background. So feel free to reach to us. Yeah. So this is our ATMA's website and email address, and Facebook. You can Facebook to there. So I think this is the last slide we have. So we're getting to the end of our conversation, and I wish we can have a cup of tea or something, right, to get together in the future. Maybe we can do something when we can meet together. But it's a wonderful conversation. It is our second conversation. So this time, along this year, 2021, I hope at least from May, June, July, August, we can have a full continuation conversation with the Tibetan youth or student youth to learn about and discover about Tibetan medicine. And feel free to reach to us. And thank you very much for sharing this wonderful experience from Jetsun and Tenzin. So do you have any last one thing to share? Something that you forgot about it, or something you want to say?
I would just really like to thank Dr. Gyesingwa for this opportunity to kind of just speak about my own experience, and hopefully there's at least one person that this helps out. And yeah, it's been really great to getting to talk with both of you, and definitely keep an eye out on the ATMA Facebook page for future events similar to this that are going to happen in the next few months. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Angela, for this opportunity. Since I started my journey with ATMA, I've learned so much. So I hope whoever else is watching this, if you're interested, definitely reach out and yeah, stay in touch through social media, and maybe one day we can all see each other in person. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So for people who have a question, leave all the messages in the ATMA Facebook. Then one of us, right? Three of us actually will get back to you. Normally, Tenzila and Jizuna look over our social media, so you will get answers. So looking forward to seeing you in the future. So hopefully next time you will be in our screen here. So we have more people. Yeah, thank you. And have a nice day.